Hello and welcome to Segments with Mark and Amber. Segments is a comedy podcast where in each episode, Amber and I choose a topic and we talk about it in a variety of segments. My name is Mark, and with me, as always, is my defense against the dark arts. It's Amber.
Hello.
Hello.
This is episode 44, and we are talking about Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
I know. I'm very excited.
We're going to talk about both the book and the movie. We want to let everybody know up front that we are going to be spoiling the rest of the series.
Oh, big old spoilers.
Because we like to think about what's coming up. And so if you are just reading the Harry Potter books for the first time, you might not want to listen.
This is your opportunity to pause the podcast and go and read that book.
All the books.
All of the books. Welcome back. Did I do that joke last time?
I think so, but I think we can do it every time.
It's a good one.
So we are gradually covering the Harry Potter books, maybe every other episode.
Yeah.
So the format of today's show, this
one right that you're listening to,
is we're going to do an overview of the themes that stuck out to us from the book and movie. We're going to go over the top 10 moments in the book and movie, and we are going to try something new today.
We are?
That's my notes. We're going to try something new today. I thought you wrote that in there. Here's the comedy part. No, if you're a big Harry Potter fan and you found our podcast just by searching for Harry Potter or Chamber of Secrets, we're going to provide you with a time code for jumping straight to the main discussion. It's going to be found in the podcast notes, which should be available in your podcast player of choice. Our regular listeners know we start each episode with feedback from a previous episode and a discussion about what's making us happy, so you can feel free to join us for that or skip ahead.
Well, let's just be honest. If they skip ahead, they're missing just a huge component of what makes Segments podcast so very special.
The quintessential us.
Yes. And because everybody wants to know what's making us happy, because maybe it's something that can make them happy.
That's what we hope. That's why we share it, I think. We want to spread the joy.
Spread the joy.
Yeah, usually Segments, we just pick a topic and talk about it, and we decided to take some time to review the Harry Potter books.
And the first book, The Sorcerer's Stone, our review of it was so wildly popular, we couldn't not continue on this 7-episode series. Not every week, not every episode, but every other episode. We just have to.
Yeah, people are clamoring.
Mm-hmm. So don't worry, we'll get to that. If you want to contact us or you want to leave feedback, you can find us. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I don't know why I said it like that. At Segmentscast.
Instagram and Twitter.
Instagram. And you can Gmail us or email us at our Gmail account, segmentscast@gmail.com.
I never really caught on. I bet they wanted to.
Yeah.
They want people to just say, I'm going to Gmail you. Will you Gmail me that?
Gmail me that.
I'm going to start doing that.
Okay. I'm excited to see how that works.
So our last episode 43, was all about chips.
Chips. Yes.
The kind you eat. So we had a little bit of feedback. We had feedback from a friend of the show, Bobby Joe. She also likes ridged potato chips. You liked ridged. I liked wavy.
Mm-hmm.
She likes ridged also because of their structure.
Yeah,
good for
you got
dipping.
a real solid.
I never thought of that. That is a good point for those. She does not care for kettle chips. Those also are solid.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember the last episode, Amber. I had this idea.
Mm-hmm. Almost a revelation.
Where I was like, what would happen if you dipped a plain kettle chip into dip?
Yeah.
Well, this previous week, your family was in town, and we were just eating with abandon. And I had the opportunity. There were chips here, and there was dip here. Quite a bit of chips and dip, but there was no kettle chips.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden we're back into kind of our normal eating patterns that does not contain large amounts of potato chips and dip. And I feel like now I've kind of missed it.
I know. I wonder when we'll have that opportunity again.
I don't know.
The real crunchy chip and the dip.
The listeners might be going, well, Mark, just go get some chips and dip and just give it a try. Well, you see, my friends, that is a very slippery slope for Mark Morris. One chip becomes 2 chips, and suddenly I'm smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day again.
Oh, my goodness. So. That was a big jump. Bobby Joe has also eaten combos in all the same specific ways that we mentioned.
All right.
There's lots of ways to eat a combo.
Yeah, if you missed that, go back and check that out. So a friend of the show, Laura, also gave some feedback. She said she enjoyed the chips episode, ! I learned a lot. I'm glad.
We did history. History of the chip. Yeah.
When I went to the store today, I had to pick a bag of chips with waves because I didn't know what they were. Interesting. I'll be looking for news articles on Tom Hanks, and I loved the difficulty Mark had in naming the Hanks segment. Yeah, so that was a real good bit last time.
I enjoyed that too.
So we don't have a Hanks but no thanks segment today, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, there's a big divide in our listeners between do you like Tom Hanks or do you like Harry Potter?
Yeah.
So we can't mix them.
Yeah, no, exactly.
But stay tuned for the next episode.
So Laura also had this to say. She's not sure about pretzels being chips.
Well, we'll get into that in just a moment.
Okay.
Friend of the show, Barb, said, I too enjoyed the chips episode. I think your definition of chips was too broad. Pretzels are not chips! ! I totally agree with Mark's top choice. I love Ridges dipped in vanilla ice cream.
Now
Keep
that I thought was a typo on her part.
You thought instead of vanilla ice cream, she meant to put French onion
Well,
dip?
I have spent a large chunk of my life with this woman.
Yeah.
And I've never recalled this being something that happened.
Yeah, I don't feel like I've seen anybody do it, but it makes sense. It's kind of like a French fry and a Frosty. And as you know, I grew up with popcorn and ice cream. There was occasionally popcorn in the ice cream.
Was there?
You know, you kind of like sprinkle a couple of pieces in there and then grab them with your spoon with some ice cream.
I've never done that.
That salty crunch with the cool, sweet ice cream.
I have done a fry in a Frosty before.
Yeah. It's very similar.
Interesting. Yeah, it's similar. Cause kind of
I don't feel like we need another thing to get hooked on dipping chips in.
Definitely do not. I believe it was Aaron who pointed out that there are egg-flavored chips. So that's friend of the show, Aaron, Amber's brother. So did I say there were not egg?
Well, that wasn't a flavor you made up. Was avocado egg chips as part of our quiz, but that still does not exist.
Okay.
But there are egg-flavored chips, especially in Asian countries.
So was that a correction?
It's an Aaron. It's not in the corrections. It's a feedback.
It's a feedback. Okay. All right. Well, now we're going to get to what everybody's been waiting for.
Oh, yeah.
So we asked a question in the last episode, and I'm trying to remember.
Oh, I've got it
something
right here.
like, oh, yeah, go for it, Amber.
If somebody asked you to bring chips to a party, could you, in good conscience, bring pretzels?
And that is absolutely a yes from me, from my vantage point.
And it was absolutely a no for me.
Yeah.
So we thought we need to put it to the people.
Yeah. Let's just say it caused quite a bit of stress in our marital relationship since then.
Pretzel lover.
Yeah, let's just say I've been sleeping on the couch ever since the last episode. No, but we put the poll out there, and this is interesting. When I first looked, it was neck and neck, 50-50.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked at how close it's been.
And it looks like the current poll results, Amber, that I'm seeing on the Facebook are 55% say no.
Yeah.
55% of people say no.
They could not, in good conscience, bring pretzels.
Well, that just makes no sense to me. Like a pretzel is, I just don't see how it's not a chip.
Yeah. It just is
it's like
such
saying
a different.
Dolphin's not a fish.
It's bread. It's bread related. Pretzels.
It's bread related.
No chips are bread related. I think if you're going to get 6 bags of chips, sure, go ahead, throw in a pretzel.
I think
But if somebody just said bring a bag of chips, like what if they're having hamburgers and we're just going to have a hamburger on a plate with a pile of pretzels next to
fine.
it? No, it would not. No, it would not.
What are you talking about?
I saw a cloud of doubt pass before your eyes when I used that hamburger analogy. You do not want. We've never had pretzels on the side of a hamburger.
Well, no. Well, see that's different. I think if somebody wants a specific thing, they're not going to say bring some chips. But if somebody says the words, "Hey, we're having a party. Hey, could you bring some chips?" That is in the realm of you can do whatever you want. Just bring some sort of a snacky thing. You know, I mean, you could.
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably even get away with bringing like kale chips or maybe a veggie tray.
If you don't want to be popular.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I think the poll speaks for itself.
Well, I guess so. Okay.
If I ask somebody to bring chips to my party, Don't be bringing those pretzels.
Well, I'm bringing pretzels
I
every
know
time
you will.
from this point
It's
on.
not even like you like pretzels that much.
No, but I mean, I don't hate pretzels.
Sure.
I like dipping them in like a cheddar cheese sauce.
Yeah, that's good. Like a sharp cheddar
Yeah, one time
spread.
we got from Sam's Club a big old box of soft pretzels. Remember that?
Oh,
And
yeah.
it came with the salt on it, and we
I mean,
dipped it in the
soft
cheese.
pretzel, that's a whole nother thing.
Is it?
Obviously.
If you said bring chips and I brought a big old box of Sam's Club soft pretzels, people would be stoked.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, give me a microwave and some water and a paper plate. Let me
Yeah. All right.
hurry up and cook these.
All right. Well, let's just agree to disagree, Amber.
All right. Well, Mark, I'm curious. What's making you happy right now?
Well, Amber, what's making me happy is that on the day that we release this episode, we will be flying to Mexico.
Whoa.
We're going on a mission trip with 9 people, including us, 7 other people plus us. That's a 9. See how
Okay, I got it. Nueve.
And Nueve. And we are heading down to Jojutla, Mexico, which is just southwest of Mexico City, so kind of southern central Mexico. And this will be my 3rd trip to this part of Mexico, my 4th trip to Mexico. And I'm excited that you are coming down with me.
Yeah, this will be my first time, so I get to meet the people that you've met and visit the churches you've been ministering at. So that's exciting.
Yeah, and so before we've stayed in a hotel, which is nice, but we just got confirmation today that there's some reasons that hotel looks like it wasn't going to work out. So we're looking around. We found a Airbnb in Mexico that is very close. Like, it's a 2-minute drive from our Airbnb to the missions base.
Perfect.
And it has 6 bedrooms, it has a pool and a pool table,
Yeah.
and it's on a lake, and it's cheaper.
Yeah.
And
That's sweet.
So let's just call that a win.
Yeah.
Let's call that a win. So we'll be roughing it out there
Yeah.
in Mexico. But
I'm
so,
excited.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's going to be a great space
gonna
for
be
us as a team to hang out, which will be fun. We've never really had that before. And so, and the missionaries and the people, the pastors and leaders that we're ministering to, is going to give them a place where they can come and hang out with us as well.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, and
That's
so
great.
it's just going to be, I think it's going to be a fun team dynamic and social atmosphere that we've not had in ministering down there before. So, yeah, so that's what's making me happy. And, like we said, we want to use this segment to, maybe other people could try it. So,
yeah.
Hey, people, try going to Mexico.
There's a real nice Airbnb in Jojutla.
In Jojutla. Yeah. There you go. Amber, what's making you happy right now?
Well, I'm excited. I'm happy, also a little nervous because I don't know if we have enough time to watch it all before we go to Mexico. We're recording a few days early. Anyway, there's a new season of Stranger Things on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I really like that show.
Called Season 3.
It's been a long time since it's been on, so I have a hard time remembering exactly where they left off. But I remember that it left me wanting more, and I was really excited that they renewed it. I think if they would have ended at season 1, just one season, one and done, I would have said, hey, that was a well done show. They don't need to do any more. But once they started with season 2, then I'm like, okay, sure. Give me more.
Give me more. Keep it coming.
So the kids have gotten older. I've seen nothing but good reviews about it so far.
Oh.
I am excited to dive in and see what's up with the Stranger Things gang.
All right. Pop quiz. Well, not a pop quiz, but a pop question.
Okay.
Who's your favorite character on the Stranger Things?
I like the kid. It's not Will. It's not 11. Finn? Is that a kid?
When Finn the Eskimo gets here, everybody's gonna run to him.
That's not his name.
I don't
Is that
know.
his name?
Which one is
the
he?
one that kind of likes 11.
Oh, the kind of
The main kid.
The scrawny kid.
He's grown. They're all, well, not all of them, but
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
I'm a real big fan.
Yeah, you're a big fan. Me?
Thanks for calling me out.
I don't know. I like Hopper.
Oh, yeah. Hopper's
like
great. I didn't even
Hopper.
think about the adults.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, Hopper's maybe my favorite.
And I liked in season 2, spoiler for season 2, well, I don't know. Who's the mom? Whoever the mom is.
Well, Joyce. Winona Ryder.
Winona Ryder. Well, she has a boyfriend in season 2.
Oh,
and
yeah, that
I
guy.
think does he sacrifice himself or does he just die?
Well, I mean, he certainly isn't. He's trying to be brave, so if he died,
Yeah.
it was,
It's like
For a good reason.
self-sacrifice. So anyway, I really liked him and whoever that guy is.
yeah, he's from something.
So, So all those people tuning in for the Harry Potter content
They're really impressed.
that we convinced to listen to
It
the
is
front.
Finn. I was right. No, it's Mike. His real name is Finn. His show name is Mike.
Mike. Yeah, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that is exciting. And I bet if we work hard, we could watch that. Or you could watch it without me. That would work.
I would like to watch it with you.
Okay.
So we got to work hard.
Well, we better get to it. I'll get up real early to get my work done tomorrow.
I wish you would.
Okay. Segment 1. Themes of the Chamber of Secrets. All right, so this is a little bit different. So last time when we talked about the Philosopher's Stone, it wasn't that, the Sorcerer's Stone, we just kind of went through kind of chronologically through the book. This time we're going to be looking at themes and then kind of looking at parts of the book later on.
Yeah, we're just shaking it up a little bit.
Shake it up. You can't put us in a box. Like Amber always says, nobody puts baby in a corner.
I don't know if I've ever said that, but I know it's from
You believe it, though.
a show. So the first thing we're going to talk about is identity. And I wrote a little thing. I said, Harry's story is about identity. In the first book, we see him with no idea of his past, learning that he's seen as a hero and then doing heroic things when called upon. But when Chamber of Secrets starts, he's back with the Dursleys. He's accepting his nobody status again, especially since he hasn't heard from anyone from Hogwarts all summer. He even doubts his memories of last year are real. It's a dire situation.
So as soon as I read the book, I don't know if people remember, this is my first time reading them. I've seen the movies in the past. I'm reading them. So I'm reading those first opening chapter, and I think it spills into chapter 2. We find Harry back with the Dursleys, and I remember very clearly the Dursleys are having that dinner party.
Yeah.
Having the Martins over, I believe is what their name was, and everybody has a role. All
Yes.
right?
Very well rehearsed.
Yes. Violet or whatever. What's her name? Oh, man, I had it last time. Anyway, Mrs. Dursley had a role, and she's like, I'm going to be here in the kitchen. Petunia. And then where are you going to be, Dudley? I will be greeting them at the door. And where are you going to be, Harry? I'll be up in my room making no noise, pretending that I don't exist.
Yeah. So he had kind of had them under the impression that he could do magic. Mm-hmm. They didn't know he wasn't allowed to.
Not yet.
During his summer break. So, yeah, they do just enough setup there to show that things are real bad.
Yeah, and so, like you said, his identity, he's beginning to question it. Did I misinterpret all of last year?
He finally had a place. He had friends. He had people that respected and valued him, and now he's heard nothing from them all summer.
Yeah.
Thinks they didn't really care. They went on with their lives. I'm not important. I'm not special. I'm just this nobody.
And it seems crazy, right? Because you think, we read that book. Look how everybody loves you. But I think in our own minds and our own places, right, we can so quickly begin to start doubting ourselves and doubting what other people think of us. And as an insecure person, I can relate with that.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely. So what's interesting is the first person to really call out his true identity in this book is Dobby.
Yeah.
Dobby shows up.
Dobby shows up. And so I picked this up on my second listen through. I just was listening to some bits and pieces of it earlier today. And, and so we'd been kind of talking about this idea of identity. And all of a sudden I hear Dobby calling out identity in Harry. And because Harry tells him to sit down or something, and Dobby's over the moon. He's like, nobody's ever asked Dobby to sit down before. And he starts crying and wailing. And Harry's trying to keep him quiet because the Dursleys are going to get real upset.
Dinner party time, yep.
And so then Dobby's like, I've heard of Harry Potter's greatness, but I didn't hear of his goodness. He's so humble, and he's got humility, and he's modest, and he says he's valiant and bold. And he just keeps going on and on, calling out this true stuff about Harry.
Yeah.
But Harry's not interested.
No, and he can't accept it. He's too afraid of the Dursleys hearing him. He's not really getting that, oh, wow, here's this magical creature that does actually see me for who I am. He can't get that. And also, Dobby's just terrible.
Dobby
it makes me so mad.
He's so bad.
If he's really there to help, who knows what he's doing. Stop making so much noise.
Oh, he's the worst. And so what is the deal? What's your take on that? What is the deal with Dobby? So in the book, and they kind of flesh it out a little bit more when Harry gets out of the Dursleys' house and they're flying away. Ron implies that after hearing about Dobby, like, sounds like somebody's trying to trick you into not going to Hogwarts. So who do you know that has a lot of money, that would be able to afford a house elf, that would not want you to go back to Hogwarts? Oh, of course, Draco. So did Draco send... So they're implying that Draco sent Dobby to warn Harry, but to trick him into not coming back.
Yeah, Dobby seems so sincere in his own belief, though. He seems like he really believes that Harry Potter would be in danger and that something bad's going to happen. Not Voldemort, but something else bad. So was he just making that up? Did Draco let just enough slip? Can a house elf just go do their own thing?
That's a great question.
I don't know. And then, or did they, was it all trickery? Well, I mean, he really seems to not want Harry at Hogwarts. That's for sure.
That is definitely for sure.
And it doesn't feel like that's all coming from Draco. Like,
I don't think so either. And to me, it adds into something we're going to talk about in a little bit. But this idea of like, they're just kind of making assumptions about who's to blame for these different situations. And I don't know if we really find out. It seems unlikely that Dobby, the house elf, has the freedom, because we know works for the Malfoys. He has the freedom just to leave, but I guess he can apparate.
Yeah, he can pop in and out, and he does punish himself for it, I suppose, when he gets back. So did he just overhear? But what would he have overheard? How would he know that something bad was going to happen? Was there really? I mean, something bad did happen, but did he really know?
Did he overhear the whole plot with the diary?
But was that what was supposed to happen with the diary? Did Malfoy know that the diary held the spirit of Tom Riddle and that he could come alive again? I don't know why he would give it. Yeah. Why he would give it to Ginny.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't he just write in the diary and let him?
Because he didn't want his life force getting sucked out of him.
Well, there's that.
There's that. So we're the Malfoys and maybe some other Death Eaters talking about, hey, here's another opportunity. This last one with Quirrell and bringing the Dark Lord back that way didn't work out. We've got his riddle, or not his riddle, his Tom Riddle's diary. It will suck the life force out of somebody and bring Lord Voldemort back.
Yeah, I guess he must have known that. Why else would he give it to her?
If we take that and his response at the very end of the movie, it seems like he knew exactly what the diary was.
Yeah,
and exactly what it was going to do.
Yeah, so I think what makes the most sense is that Dobby overheard and then of his own free will, because there's some stuff he couldn't tell Harry.
Yes.
Yeah, it just seems like it's weird that he did that out of his own free will. He had heard of Harry Potter's greatness, though, so maybe that inspired him. Yeah,
it was very interesting. I really loved, and I don't know how many times I came home, after listening to it on my way home from work or whatever, going, I can't stand Dobby. He's the worst, because he does this, and then we don't realize it's Dobby, but he does, I think the next thing he does is the rogue bludger.
No, he keeps them from getting into 9 3/4.
Oh, that's right. He blocks that thing.
Which, if it was up to Snape, that would have led to an expulsion.
Exactly, but it's not.
So following along with this identity thing, Harry's friends rescue him, and then the Weasley parents are really admiring of him. That kind of helps bring him back into his good feeling about himself. He runs into Gilderoy Lockhart in the Diagon Alley.
Harry. Oh, man. I love and hate Gilderoy
He's a perfect
Lockhart.
Cast.
Oh,
that guy did such a good job.
Harry.
So
Harry Potter had no idea when he came into Flourish and Blotts today to buy my autobiography that he was going to get much more.
Together we'll make the front page, boy. So he knows Harry's identity, but Harry's not at all comfortable with that praise and recognition coming from Lockhart.
I think he can sense, and Ron can sense, that this guy is full of it.
Yeah, right at the beginning, they didn't like that.
Harry said that he loved that the summer vacation came to an end too soon, right? He's obviously very excited to get back to Hogwarts, but he spends a month at the Weasleys after they broke him out. He said it's because everybody there loved him.
Yeah, he's never had that.
And not even at Hogwarts, right? Because you got Malfoy and Snape and those other
Crab and Goyle.
I can never remember the name. And he said that Mr. Weasley would like to ask him questions about the Muggle world.
Oh yeah, that was great. How does an escalator work?
Escalator.
Escalator, yes.
I love that.
I liked it when Ron was kind of apologetic about their house being kind of like dumpy or whatever, or hodgepodge, and that Ron's got to sleep up in the attic by some ghoul or whatever. And Harry's like, it's the best I've ever seen.
This is the best house I've ever been to. This is the best room
gosh.
I've ever been to. And Ron was so happy.
Yeah.
They're going over to Diagon Alley. This is another thing I don't get. The Weasleys, now Ginny's going again, and they have to buy all of Lockhart's books because he's assigned all of them as required reading. And so they got to buy all these books, and they go to Gringotts.
Yeah.
Harry feels a little bit bad, like they don't have very much money, and he goes and just scoops up some of his money. Hey, Harry, I got an idea. Give the Weasleys some of your money.
Yeah, I don't know if he was afraid that they would reject it. At least try.
Just
you
try.
know, they probably would say, "Oh, please, Harry, don't do that." But at least try. You know, at least say, "Hey, I'm going to get Ron's books for him," or something like that. You know, I was surprised he didn't try.
I was surprised too. Yeah. So the Hogwarts season for him kind of starts off kind of badly.
Yes.
As you said, Dobby enchanted the 9 3/4 tunnel kind of thing, and so they can't get on the Hogwarts Express. And then they have this brilliant idea.
Oh, Ron.
We'll take Mr. Weasley's Ford Anglia or whatever it was, and we'll fly there.
Yeah. So that was not good because they were spotted by Muggles. I think that was the main thing that was bad when they got to Hogwarts. They were late. They caused damage to the Whomping Willow, but the fact that they were not careful and they exposed Muggles to magic, that's a expellable offense.
And so Snape was mad. And we were watching the movie last night, I guess, and our daughter Molly's like, why is that tree there?
Yeah, that's a real violent tree to have on the ground.
And Snape's like, that tree has been there since before you were alive. It's like, well, that's like 12 years ago.
Yeah.
You got that? Not that big. It was probably longer than that, but I thought that was a weird way to say it.
Yeah, it does seem rough.
So they get there late. They miss the first dinner, which would be a real bummer. They miss the sorting. And I can't remember, in the book, they peer through the window to see that the sorting is happening, and I think they see...
Ginny. Do they see?
They see Ginny? Yeah, I think it's Ginny they see. I was wondering, in my re-listen, if they saw Colin Creevy.
Oh, I don't know.
Which I really... There's so many characters I love to dislike in this book.
You don't like Colin either.
Like Colin.
He is super annoying.
He's real annoying. So, but then, in the book, it's Snape catches him.
Yes.
And Snape's real mad.
Yeah.
And he's excited to,
yeah.
like you said,
Takes
it's an
him
expellable
to a scary
offense.
office, and luckily Dumbledore and McGonagall step in.
They're a little bit lenient with those boys. But,
Yeah.
So here's the thing, Amber. I don't know if this is a theme, but I'm going to throw it in there. Often, somebody does something that they shouldn't be doing, but if they didn't do it, things would be much, much worse.
Right.
If the George and Fred and Ron didn't go get Harry, he'd be stuck and wouldn't be able to get out.
He wouldn't even have gone to Hogwarts.
Right? If they aren't sneaking around the castle doing things, they aren't, they're not going to solve the riddles. And so it's interesting. And I think later in this book, maybe in the previous book, Dumbledore is like, man, you guys have broken like 50 rules, but you did defeat Voldemort, so we're going to give you some points.
Yeah, that is basically what he says.
So you should be breaking the rules if it's going to work out, but don't do it if it's not going to work out.
Yeah, he kind of says here he has a certain disregard for the rules, similar to Tom Riddle, so you got to be careful. Yeah, if Harry just needs to deepen that relationship with Dumbledore, but we'll talk about that again in a minute.
Yes.
So another thing with the identity, so he's there. I think things are getting better now. People are recognizing him. He's got his friends. He's back in Hogwarts, which he loves. Then he starts hearing voices, and bad things start to happen inside Hogwarts. So he tells Ron and Hermione he's hearing voices, and they say, don't tell anybody. That's not a good thing.
Smell blood. Kill.
Oh
That's very creepy.
It is really creepy, and nobody else can hear it. Then Harry just starts being in the wrong place at the wrong time over and over again. So first time there's words on the wall. The Chamber of Secrets has been open. Beware the heir of Slytherin, something like that. The heir.
And then there's the water on the floor and a paralyzed Mrs. Norris.
Miss Norris, the cat, yes. So Harry's right there. Everybody thinks he did something. They immediately think maybe he's the heir of Slytherin because he's standing there. That's already a suspicion, but he doesn't think that's probably true. But then Hermione says, well, it would have been, 1,000 years ago. Anybody could be the heir
of
Salazar Slytherin.
Yeah. And so now we're sowing more seeds of
doubt
doubt
in
of
his identity. That'd
yeah.
be the worst possible thing you could think of, was to be the heir of Slytherin.
Right, and so now, was the Sorting Hat
Yes.
right all along? I should have been in Slytherin.
Right.
Very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it just me trying to be something different that, because he said, please don't put me in Slytherin. Maybe he just pushed himself over here, but that's not his real identity. So then he does the duel, and he actually starts speaking parcel tongue to the snake in front of everybody. And that's when the school turns against him. Everybody's convinced he's the heir of Slytherin. Nobody can speak parcel tongue. Even Snape is scared of him.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
In the movie, I love. Oh, I've got stuff to say. So in the duel scene, when Harry starts talking to that snake, whatever the actor who plays Snape, Alan Rickman.
Yeah.
He does the best subtle looks. That guy
Yeah,
is
because he can't emote largely.
professional actor.
Yeah.
He's
He
like
really
he's
is.
like a real pro.
He really is.
He's really doing it up there. And just the look of I know exactly what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
This is bad. And the wheels are turning. What does this mean? Is maybe Snape's starting to question, is he an heir of Slytherin? Is he something more than I thought? What?
Yeah.
What's and he just is, and it's scary. Snape does not want the return of the Dark Lord. That's my impression.
Yeah, he's in a sticky situation.
He's in a sticky situation.
Yeah.
The other thing that I wanted to say, the first time Harry hears the voices, do you remember where he is?
Oh, he's with Gilderoy.
He's with Gilderoy Lockhart.
Doing his detention.
Signing Gilderoy's fan mail.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Harry. Don't get too ahead of yourself. The fame is as fame does.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, man. Gilderoy. And then Gilderoy, I think there's 2 petrifications before they do the dueling.
So Mrs. Norris and Calvin, is he the second one? Colin.
Might be Colin Creevy. More people got petrified in the book than in the movie. So they do the dueling, and Gilderoy Lockhart, I don't know what made him think that this was a good idea. It's because he doesn't know his identity.
True.
He is believing. He's the opposite of Harry.
Yes.
Right?
Ooh.
He is his identity. So look, I tied it into the identity conversation.
Very nice.
He is constantly telling himself how great he is and how brilliant he is, and he's written these books, and look at how people love him. He's been voted best smile in Witch Weekly for 3 years in a row, and he's a wizard in the class of Merlin, 3rd class or whatever it is, and so he's like, I'm going to teach these kids how to do defense against the dark arts, which apparently he has no idea.
Yeah, that's weird.
And so he's like, I'll make an example of Snape. And that Snape is psyched about this. And he just destroys him. But what does Gilderoy do? He jumps up and he's like, oh, that's a good idea to show the students that. I could tell that's what you were going to do. And I could easily have blocked it if I needed to.
Oh,
it's just I hate this guy so much. And it's like, I know people like that.
Oh, totally. They spin everything to just... Yep.
Yeah. And
they haven't done anything wrong. They never make any mistakes. It's all just part of the plan.
Exactly.
Yeah. Harry's peers are turning on him. That makes him doubt himself. He starts keeping things to himself. Dumbledore calls him into his office and says, is there anything that you need to tell me? I don't think you're doing this, but obviously you're hiding something. And Harry's like, nope.
Yeah, the best thing you could do in that situation is trust the mentor that loves you and cares about you.
Yeah, I guess he was afraid that Dumbledore would also say, "Oh, maybe you're the heir of Slytherin."
Yeah, and then because it's this fear of losing your place, right?
Yes.
We've all struggled with that.
Absolutely.
If somebody finds out what I really am, I'm going to lose my place. So if I can continue to cover it up, through performance or through whatever it is, then I can hold together kind of my fragile piece. But there's no real peace in that. So
no, there isn't.
Silly Harry. And then the other theme that I think that we see is this idea of discrimination running throughout the book. The main plot is we find out that 1,000 years ago, this Salazar Slytherin, who is one of the 4 founding wizards of Hogwarts. Do you know the 4? I don't know the 4.
No.
I mean, I know their last names, but... So Salazar Slytherin, he wants to get rid of all the mudbloods.
Godric Gryffindor, Rowena Ravenclaw. I don't know how.
Salazar Slytherin,
How,
Jim Hufflepuff. I don't know.
I think it was Jim.
I think
Jim
it was
Hufflepuff.
Jim Hufflepuff. And so he wants to get rid of all the mudbloods, apparently. And so he thinks that only pure wizards. So mudbloods are like half and half, or they have no
I feel like it should be a half and half as well, because that would be muddying the blood. You've got magic and you've got non-magic. But Hermione's a mudblood, and she's got 2 non-magical parents.
Yeah. And that was very offensive when when little Draco calls her a mudblood, because he'd just gotten Nimbus 2001s for the entire Slytherin Quidditch team.
Who coincidentally gave him a place on the team.
Yeah, and Hermione calls him out on that.
Yeah.
And then he's so mad that he spits out that she's a mudblood. And so you see this throughout, all the purebloods, well, the Malfoys, they hate these, anybody that's not pureblood.
Pure, yeah.
But we see, Hermione is a far better wizard than Draco. And we see in the book when Draco and Lucius are in Bollinger's, whatever that place in Nocturne Alley, Lucius actually is like, you better get your grades up because you let Hermione Granger, which I don't think he said the mudblood, but you let Hermione Granger beat you on every exam.
Yeah.
We see that throughout the book, and we see discrimination of our poor little Dobby.
Yes, definitely.
Even though we hate Dobby.
Yeah, he's real annoying, but he doesn't deserve to be treated as he's treated. Yes, that's for sure.
And then the third thing that we see, the third theme that you and I kind of identified, I bet there's more in there for sure, was loyalty. And that stood out to me most at the very end when Harry is facing off with Tom Riddle.
Yeah.
And he's got nothing, and all of a sudden the basilisk is coming out. And I think Tom Riddle says something like, you've got nobody, you're all alone, you're going to die, whatever he says. And Harry repeats the words of Dumbledore, who he says, as long as there's somebody who's faithful, to Dumbledore, there's always help for those.
Yeah,
I can't remember what he says. And then all of a sudden, Fawkes comes flying in.
That's pretty cool.
I was like, oh, great, Fawkes is here. And he drops that stupid hat, which I love. And Tom was like, oh, great. That's what Dumbledore sent his warrior or whatever. Like, good luck with that.
A bird and an old hat.
A bird and an old hat. But he is trusting. It ends up working out. Fawkes pecks out the eyes of the basilisk, which is pretty nasty.
Yeah.
And then he's able, I don't think the hat did any talking, but he's able to somehow pull the sword of Gryffindor out of there.
So that was really, and Dumbledore points that out, like that's what proves Harry's identity, is that sword. He talks to Dumbledore at the end, and he's like, what am I? Am I Gryffindor or Slytherin? And Dumbledore says, first of all, that the fact that you didn't want Slytherin, that you asked for Gryffindor, you wouldn't be Slytherin if you asked for Gryffindor, and then that the sword of Godric Gryffindor would not have come to him unless he was a true Gryffindor. And I feel like, that finally gives Harry some peace about his identity.
Yeah, this idea that what we're born into or our situation is, that's not what makes us who we are, but the choices that we make in our life is what makes us who we are. Right? And we see the Malfoys making bad choices, and they're bad people.
Absolutely.
And our heroes 3 making good choices, putting themselves on the line for the good of the school, even when everybody is turning against them. Where else did we see some loyalty?
That Dumbledore and McGonagall continued to have faith in Harry and in Ron, that they were not the ones that were causing all of this trouble. They kind of knew, like, these are good boys. This is probably not the situation.
Yeah, because that's the fear when Harry's in Dumbledore's office. Is like, it looks bad.
It looks real bad.
But Dumbledore has this weird way of knowing things.
He sure does.
Like when the invitation letters come for Hogwarts, all the Weasleys get them, and Harry gets his, and Mr. Weasley's like, oh, Dumbledore knows that you're here already.
Yeah, that's
and
interesting.
He never misses a beat, that one.
Yeah.
Or something. He always seems to know what's going on. When Harry and Ron were hiding in the invisibility cloak, that's when he gave him the clue. even if I'm gone, those who are faithful.
Oh, that
and
was
put
really
their trust
cool.
in
He
me,
knew they
you
were
know.
there. He looked right at them.
Yeah.
So he knew they were there the whole time. He was just going to have his conversation with Hagrid and whatever and let him be there.
Is
That
this
was
the
great.
first we hear of Azkaban?
Yeah, I think so.
So that sounds like a bad place.
Yeah, I think
And we don't even know anything about it.
we're going to be visiting next book.
Ooh. And then there's the question of Dobby's loyalty.
Yeah.
Don't know. He's
Really hard to tell.
he is a mysterious character.
Yeah.
I really like that. I just am impressed with Rowling and her characters and the way she just weaves these kind of ideas and things in the book.
They're certainly not one-dimensional. They're certainly not a clear cut, who's good, who's bad, what's all that. You've got your good main characters and your for sure bads, but then there's these people, we don't know what their motivation is. It could be, which is like a real person.
Exactly.
A real person has all these mixed up motivations.
Yeah. And we're going to see that more and more in Snape. We saw it last book. He's bad, but oh wait, he's kind of doing some good, and what's going on with there. If I remember correctly, when Lord Voldemort starts coming back, spoiler alert, Draco is, because of who his dad is, he's kind of drawn into this whole Death Eaters thing, and like you can tell, like I don't remember what happens with him, but you can tell he's super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
oh
scary.
man, I don't want this is too much.
Yeah.
Like I was kind of a believer in what Dad was saying. I'm kind of into this whole thing. I'm a Slytherin. Go Slytherin. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, things turn bad for Draco. You end up having a little empathy for Draco by the end.
Segment 2. Top 10 moments in the Chamber of Secrets. All right, Amber, this is the segment where we talk about the top 10 moments in the Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah, and it's 10 things that stick out. I don't know if there's better moments.
Well, I might cut that part.
Maybe we shouldn't say top 10. 10 memorable moments in the Chamber of Secrets. How about that?
Segment 2. 10 memorable moments in the Chamber of Secrets.
So some of these we've already touched on a little bit, but we just thought this would be a fun way to go through the book. So this is our first book with Dobby. Dobby's number 1, and he does continue on. He has quite a bit more of a story arc to come, so it's really interesting to remember back to what his beginnings was like and how horrible. He doesn't ever stop being annoying altogether, but his motives at least can not be continually questioned as the story goes on.
And I've said already a lot about Dobby. We love to hate him. He shows up again. Oh, when Harry's arm is being re-skeletonized.
Oh my gosh, how gross. Gilderoy Lockhart.
Gilderoy Lockhart. And in the book, I think, this is about Dobby. But Gilderoy comes up, he's like, oh, I can mend that bone. And Harry's like, no, not you.
Not you. He already knew, yes. And then the lady, Madame Pomfrey or whatever in the sick ward's like, you should have brought him to me first.
It's like, Harry,
it's gonna be so much worse.
Harry, why'd you let Gilderoy do it? Like he's like, and it reminded me of when he ended up in Nocturne Alley. Hagrid's like, what are you doing here? Why would you be down here? I'm like, it was an accident. You should not be down here.
Yeah.
Come on. Somebody listen to poor Harry.
Yes,
but so you got Dobby doing all these terrible things. And why, when he came in the sick ward, what was he? He was revealing that he was the rogue bludger.
Yes.
He is the one that, because I thought, it's got to be Lucius or it's got to be somebody.
Right.
But no, it's still this.
I mean, he really almost killed Harry multiple times.
Yeah. Oh, Dobby.
So, but him getting the sock, that was cool. And kind
very
of tricking Malfoy into giving him an old nasty sock.
Lucius, but yes.
Well, Malfoy, Draco's the kid.
Oh, you're right. Malfoy's
So
the
I
last
need
name.
to
Well
differentiate because there are 2 Malfoys.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we love. Does Dobby come back in Azkaban?
I feel like he's in all the rest of the books, but I don't know.
Okay.
We'll find out.
Okay.
Azkaban is the one I remember the least, so I'm kind of excited to.
I'm hoping that we get a
dive
little
back
bit
in
more clarity on kind of his motivation and what's kind of going on.
Yeah, I hope so too. I'll give a shout out to listener Sarah if you want to give us a little insight into Dobby.
Yeah, that would be great.
What is his deal?
What's his deal? So the second thing we want to look at is very memorable about Chamber of Secrets is Gilderoy Lockhart.
Oh my gosh, he's so great.
The best.
I like
Oh, go ahead.
I like how all the ladies kind of swoon over him when it's so ridiculous. They should not be, but even Mrs. Weasley, mom's got a crush on him, or however they say it, and
Mom
Ginny
fancies
and
him.
Mom fancies him. There you go. And Hermione has a crush on him. Hermione should be too smart
Come
for that.
on, Hermione. That's so.
There's something about the way he poses and his hair and
my
his
gosh,
confidence that
and
is.
he lets out those stupid pixies in this first
my
Defense
gosh.
Against the Dark Arts class, and I think the movie really captured that
Yes.
well. With they're going crazy, and he's
he
just
doesn't
like,
know what to do.
You're just leaving. Oh, just have you three nip the rest of those ones back in the cage. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And then what? And
Like, what did
Hermione,
he think was
like,
gonna happen?
in the movie? One spell, and Hermione has them all.
Yeah, and he couldn't do
He
that.
couldn't do anything.
And I like how all of his books have like alliteration or something.
Here with the Yeti.
Yes.
Gadding with ghouls. Marvelous me. Oh, yes.
And it makes me so mad that he made everybody buy all of his books. And they refer to Hermione as having read most of them or some of them. Like, what a ridiculous. Your Defense Against the Dark Arts, like how many of them are going to come into contact with a Yeti? You know, they're going to read this whole dramatic encounter of this battle with a specific creature. It just feels like not appropriate.
Yeah, and then
Not
we
a good choice.
have the horrible reveal of the reality
Oh
of
my
Gilderoy.
gosh. It's
when
real disturbing.
They're like, oh, wait, Ginny's been captured. Oh, and then all the teachers are like, well, Gilderoy, didn't you just say that you knew all along where the Chamber of Secrets was? And didn't
I
you
think
say
they
all
just kind
along
of sent him off. I don't think they really expected him to
Yeah.
find anything.
And so he runs off. He's like, oh, I've got to go get ready.
Yeah.
And Harry and Ron are like, well, we know where the Chamber of Secrets is. We can at least help him. We
Yeah.
know he's inept, but
Yeah.
he's going to do this thing. And they go and he's packing up all his
Oh,
stuff.
coward.
So in the movie, on his desk was like a mannequin head with a wig on it. Do you think he was
Ooh.
bald?
Ooh, interesting.
It never implies that, but why else would you have another
Right.
wig of your exact hair?
Yeah.
It's very interesting. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
Another thing he was covering up.
So he's leaving. So they capture him and force him to go into the Chamber
Yeah, I
of
think they take
Secrets
his
with
wand
him.
away, so he can't do anything with his own wand. And say he's got to go with them. I don't know why he does, I guess, but
Because they both have wands.
Oh,
He
okay.
doesn't, and they're the ones that actually know how to duel, and he doesn't.
Yeah.
And so they go down. He steals Ron's wand and said,
The
and
broken
reveals
wand.
that all these stories are just the only thing I can do is memory charms, and I just find people that have done something amazing. I take their stories, I wipe their memory, and I write it as if it was me.
it's so terrible.
And now I'm going to do the exact same thing to you guys.
Yep.
But you guys will be killed by a basilisk.
He was
so.
already writing the story, you know, oh, I got to the girl too late, and the boys were so distraught that they lost their minds, and he already had it all planned out.
And so it finally shows you why Hermione fixes glasses. People like why doesn't he fix his wand? Like, why did Rowling let him have this broken wand the whole
Yeah.
time? And then at the very end, Gilderoy Lockhart steals Ron's wand, tries to erase their memory, obliviate,
Yeah.
but it backfires
Ugh,
and hits
yeah.
him. And so it's just this
It
great.
is funny.
Oh, it's
I
so
mean,
good.
so he doesn't have money to get a new wand, and then I'm like, well, Harry could pay for it, but then how do they get to Diagon Alley? That's quite
Mm-hmm.
a train trip away, and you've got to go to Ollivanders so that they'll give you the wand that's meant for you.
Yeah, I guess you're right. That's kind of a big.
So I just don't know. Yeah, I kept thinking like Harry needs to order one on Amazon and get Ron this new wand, but that's not how it works. Oh, I just wonder what I think he would have named us like Battle with the Basilisk or
Battle
something if
with
he
the
would have made it up.
Basilisk. It's so good. You should write that one.
Yeah,
remember.
yeah.
So the third thing is Draco's dad was 100 times worse than Draco.
I mean, he's pretty bad. It's so clear. It's really neat how much they look alike.
Mm-hmm.
And their attitudes are like, he's a great bad dad.
Yes.
Lucius Malfoy.
Lucius Malfoy. And he's such a jerk. And him and Mr. Weasley kind of face off in Flourish and Blots there, which is where Draco's dad, Lucius, begins this whole thing by taking Ginny's some book that she has and it's like, oh, is this all your dad can afford to give you?
Secondhand book, yeah.
And,
used book, yeah.
And in the book, they get in this big tussle and there's things falling over. And then he puts the book and the diary back into her it's a little pot thing.
It's a little. It looks like a little bucket, but they say cauldron later. So
Cauldron.
is this the scene when Mr. Weasley says, "You and I have a very different idea of what is a
disgrace to
the
wizards.
name of wizard or something like that."
It's
Yeah,
so good.
that's very good.
Yeah, Lucius is the worst. So he does this on purpose. He puts the diary in there.
Yeah, that's
on
crazy
purpose.
when you think about it. So he knew, he had to have known that Tom Riddle's part of his soul was in there. Like, how did he know
and
that?
He knew that I'm going to sacrifice somebody. Might as well sacrifice a Weasley. I hate all these people.
We're so far from knowing about Horcruxes. So did the Death Eaters know all along? Did they know how many there were? It's just very interesting.
What I think is interesting about the diary, as I was reading, I noticed that Harry and the Weasleys are trying to leave the burrow, which is a great scene. And
Yes.
he's like, oh, when will I ever see this place again? Then they came back 2 minutes later because Fred forgot his broom or something, and they try and go back and forth. And then the last thing, they race back into the house because Ginny had forgotten her diary.
Which you don't really think anything of because she's a little girl. You got a diary, yeah, sure.
And that's the whole crux of the whole thing. All right, Amber, what's our next theme? Or not theme, but
Harry and Malfoy's duel. That was one thing we already touched on that a little bit. I think that I liked that when Gilderoy was like, disarm only, disarm. It's out of control. I mean, they could have really went to harm each other. I mean, why don't you just do the unforgivable, terrible spell and kill each other because they hate each other so much? But they were being too rough. They weren't just trying to take wands away.
Right, and that's when Draco does the serpentitious thing or whatever, and that the snake comes out when Harry starts speaking parcel tongue.
Yes,
and things turn poorly for poor Harry at that point. So.
Yeah, Snape kind of smirks proudly when Harry's first knocked down, but then when Harry gets back up and knocks Draco down, he doesn't like that. Draco is so clear and such a good actor too. When I'm picturing him in the movie, that he is trying so hard to have that confidence and that bravado, but he is scared. I just feel like you always see that little. Like, I can't fail. I can't, whereas Harry's almost expecting to fail and he's surprised when he doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, Draco's so afraid of failing or messing up. I just feel like you see that fear.
Oh, yeah. I think that there's so much expectation put on Draco from his dad. Maybe that's another piece of this identity, right? Like, you are a pureblood. You've got to be the best. Don't fail. Don't fall behind. Don't be less than. Don't let anybody be better than you. You're a Malfoy. You're a Slytherin. And you can see that. I don't know how they get these kids to.
I know, it's amazing.
Pull these nuances out of their acting. But yeah, there is that just fear and like, oh, what's going on? Yeah, I love it.
He's jealous. He's jealous of Harry. He wants to be on the Quidditch team because Harry's on the Quidditch team, and he wants people to love him like they love Harry, and it just doesn't happen.
Yeah. So obviously the next big thing that's really cool about the Chamber of Secrets is the Chamber of Secrets. What is it? I love how in the movie McGonagall kind of, Hermione's like, can you tell us about the Chamber of Secrets? And McGonagall is like, 1,000 years ago, there's 4 wizards, the greatest wizards of the time. They started Hogwarts, and 3 of them got along. 1 didn't, and they eventually kicked Salazar Slytherin out. But he claimed that there's this Chamber of Secrets. But the school has been searched many times, and there's no trace of any Chamber of Secrets.
We know how crazy magical that school is, and how just the stairways turn, and the room of requirement that'll come in later just appears whenever you need it. And the mirror of Erised is there when, things just move around and change. And I like the idea of experienced wizards and Dumbledore and McGonagall searching for this chamber and not being able to find it because the castle itself is so strange and magical.
To me, because everybody talks about like there's a point in book 3 or 4 where things start to turn dark. But this felt pretty dark, right? Like the air, or the enemies of the air, beware, right? And last 50 years ago when this happened, a girl died, and like, all these people are getting petrified, and
I for sure thought that Mrs. Norris was dead when I first read it, and like that's pretty dark. I have a dead cat, blood on the wall. There's spiders involved.
I really liked the big concluding battle as well, and the Chamber of Secrets was cool with the big basilisk and how Harry beats a giant snake monster. Well, I guess he has the help of Fawkes and
I did
the
like
sword.
to imagine this secret chamber being constructed by Salazar Slytherin. I mean, they had like 24 giant snake heads and moving snake discs and tunnels, and
so good.
Yeah, it's amazing.
He's super into snakes.
Yeah, maybe you could build it with magic, I suppose. Another one. Memorable point is our introduction to Moaning Myrtle. She's going to be in a couple more books.
Oh, is she?
She's super annoying, but
she is very
that's
annoying.
what she's supposed to be, that she's always in this bathroom. So she wasn't in the first book at all, huh?
Nope.
Okay. Anyway, it makes sense that they've got these ghosts floating around the castle, so it makes sense that there could be another one in the bathroom. And I like how Hermione's like, nobody's going to come in here. Nobody wants to deal with Moaning Myrtle. Like, it's just known by all the girls, don't use this bathroom.
Exactly.
They meet her when they're in there to conspire and do their polyjuice potion. They're in there when there's flooding everywhere because somebody tried to flush the diary.
Oh, yeah.
And she spurted it up out of the pipes.
Yeah, well, there's always water everywhere the basilisk goes because he's coming up out of there.
Yeah, there definitely is.
Coming through the pipes and all that. So we love the polyjuice potion. It's so good. Well, I was really surprised when they said, oh, it's going to take a month or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you guys going to do for a month? But then it's all complicated, and Hermione has to steal some stuff from Snape to get that.
That's cool.
And she's willing to break the rules, which is not very Hermione-like.
No, but I think she's also challenging herself to see if she can do this potion. She comes up with this idea, and she's like, well, there's no other ideas. We got to do it. We got to take a month to do this super complicated thing. I think she wanted to see if she could do it.
Yeah, that seems like Hermione.
The challenge, yeah.
Number next
was Tom Riddle's diary. So that was first found by Harry. That's the first time we really realized it's part of the story when he finds it in the bathroom. Moaning Myrtle says she found it in the U-bend, picked it back up.
So tell me, you and I were having this conversation a little while ago, the difference between the discovery of the diary in the movie versus the book.
Yeah, so in the book, there's a Valentine's Day party that Lockhart has. And everybody thinks it's kind of annoying, except for the girls. He's gotten 41 Valentines from the girls. And he has dwarves dressed as cupids running around the castle.
Ridiculous. I wish that was in the movie.
Me too. He tells the kids, if you want Snape to whip you up a love potion, let him know. And he does not want to do that. So the cupids, the dwarves dressed as cupids, are going around delivering messages during class and in the hallway, love messages. So somebody sent Harry a singing love message, and he was so embarrassed he wanted to get out of the hall before anybody heard it, so he's kind of in a rush, and he drops all of his things. This is right after he found the diary. His stuff's all over the floor, and Draco picks up the diary, notices it, and that's when Ginny sees it didn't get flushed. Harry has it. She was trying to get rid of it because she was realizing that it was bad. So then she knows that Harry has it. Harry spills his ink on all of his books. Everything's covered with ink except for the diary. The diary doesn't, all the ink is just washed off of it. It doesn't absorb, not covered with ink. So that gets him thinking. And when he goes back to his room, that's when he's like, well, let me try to put some ink on it. And it kind of immediately is absorbed. And then he writes his name, and then the diary starts talking back. So it makes a little bit more sense than in the movie when he just randomly decides to drop some ink on a page and see what happens.
Yeah, I think that's one, and obviously they did a great job with the movie. You have to leave some stuff out. But that situation with the Valentine's dinner, it makes Lockhart terrible again, which is great.
Yes.
But also reveals that Harry's got the diary, shows the ink thing, and it shows why Ginny doesn't break in, but goes into his room, tears everything apart to get the diary.
Yeah.
And again, Harry and Hermione and Ron, they don't. Who would do this? It had to be a Gryffindor. Nobody else can get in here, and
you never suspect sweet Ginny.
Yeah, and so Harry has the basilisk tooth.
Yes,
and this again is better in the book.
Yeah,
Fawkes comes and kind of cries on this thing, and he starts to get better, and he's got this tooth, and he jabs it into the diary. Where he got that idea is beyond me. And is that how they deal with other Horcruxes, though we don't know that word yet, but in the future? I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, Tom says something to the effect of it being his heart. I feel like Tom almost gives him the idea in the movie.
Mm-hmm. He might in the book, too. I don't remember.
Yeah. It was a good idea.
Yeah. And
I need to destroy this book. What can I destroy it with? This magical element.
If I can't, I'm trying to think of other movies and books and stuff like this the idea of the diary containing this part of the soul of this, I just think that's a brilliant and interesting, I don't know, good job again.
And I can easily see it capturing a young girl's heart. You write your thoughts and feelings and imagine something responding back and affirming your beliefs and thoughts. And that in the book, Tom says that she told him all about Harry. That's how he knows, because he's just his past self. He doesn't know that Voldemort tried to attack Harry as a baby. He doesn't know that he's going to become Voldemort. Or maybe, I don't know.
He does say Voldemort is my past, my present, and my future.
That's true.
So he knows some things.
And he rearranges the letters to show I am Lord Voldemort, which I totally picture like a 15-year-old kid being like, what can I do with these letters in my name to be cool?
Yeah.
I got Lord. What could I make out of this? What's a scary sounding name I could make out of these letters?
And then the next thing, Amber, is the basilisk is super great. We love the basilisk.
Yeah, I like the idea that everybody was getting petrified because they weren't seeing him head on.
Yeah.
Which I guess maybe they thought it'd be too dark to have someone actually die. It's weird that many people. I think Molly said that he's really bad at killing people. So many people were just petrified. So Calvin.
Calvin
Wow.
Hurley.
Yeah. He got it through his camera. Mrs. Norris and the reflection on the water. Somebody threw nearly headless Nick. That was the Justin.
Yeah, that's
somebody.
right. And nearly headless Nick.
And then I think it was Hermione and another girl.
A prefect.
Oh, right.
And I think, and so in the book, here's another aside. In the book, Harry's at the burrow with the Weasleys, and Percy is up in his room a lot, and they can't use his owl because he's using it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, does he have some secret prefect thing? But he just has a girlfriend.
There you go. That's nice.
Good job, Percy.
Yeah.
So I think she's another prefect. And
Yeah.
I think they run into the two of them in the dungeon when they look like Crabbe and Goyle.
Okay.
So we love the old basilisk.
Yep.
Segment 3, Potter in the News.
Well, we just really quickly wanted to touch on the fact that between this last podcast, Harry Potter podcast, and this one, a new game has come out. It's called Harry Potter Wizards Unite, and it's an augmented reality game that you can play on your smartphone. It's very much like Pokemon Go.
It's very much like Pokemon Go. I gave it a little go as you were napping this afternoon.
Did you rescue Hagrid?
I rescued Hagrid, and then I took a walk around the block. And so it's funny. So you're walking around staring at your phone, right? And you see a map of our block or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't realize that's what that was. Molly had to tell me. She's like, that's our street. That's our neighborhood.
That's our
like, oh my gosh, wow, look at that.
And so I walked around, and then it shows up. There's like these little icons, and you click on an icon, and it says, move your phone around until you find the monster or whatever.
You got to do that out in public.
And so I'm standing out in front of some random neighbor's yards.
Looking like you're taking pictures of their house. Luckily,
and you have to do these spells, which are like these different motions or whatever on your phone. And I'm trying to, I felt super nerdy.
Yeah, that feels more than Pokemon Go. I mean, you knew everybody was playing Pokemon Go when that first came out, but it was mostly just looking down at your phone. It wasn't scanning around.
You're flicking a little ball.
Yeah.
And this, you're looking around and you're doing. It was really funny.
It's free and it was very easy to download.
Yeah. And maybe it's because of Newt Scamander and the Fantastic Beasts, right? That it's kind of regaining popularity, but those movies have not done well, right?
No.
And yet here we have another. It's still in there. It's still popular. People still love Harry.
And this is our people. This is not Newt Scamander. This is Harry older or Harry.
Yeah.
So this takes place after the resolution of the last book.
Which I'm glad to know that he survives this. Some heroes don't survive things.
That's right.
And he's doing well, and he gets married, and he has kids, and everybody's happy.
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting. People, if you are into Wizards Unite, let us know.
Yeah.
I didn't do too much with it. Just spend a couple minutes just seeing how it works.
Supposedly you can adjust your appearance and get your wand and be in different houses and stuff. I didn't get that far.
Yeah, I didn't.
You got to earn some points to be able to do that.
Far either. So yeah, pretty fun.
Well, thank you guys for joining us today. We want to hear from you. You can leave us feedback on this episode, Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram at SegmentsCast. You can email us, segmentscast@gmail.com, or you can find our episode page at segments.libsyn.com.
Yeah, and you can look us up and subscribe on your podcast player of choice, and we would love it if you share the show with others. If you got some Harry Potter fans that you know, and that they want to listen, and even if they don't, if you don't think they want to listen to us, just tell them about us anyway.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
Absolutely. Yeah, tell us what your favorite parts of Chamber of Secrets are.
Yeah, that would be a great thing. And we want to thank our nephew Gabriel, a.k.a. EDM Samurai, for the intro and outro music, as well as John Williams. You can find EDM Samurai on SoundCloud just by searching EDM Samurai. Well, I can honestly say I'm up to no good.
Nice one. Yeah. Mischief managed.
Because he didn't want his life force getting sucked out of him.
Well, there's that.
There's that.